Welcome everybody. There is a new Dota patch. So we're gonna look at it at the start of the stream. Let's dive right in. Usually I look at the patch beforehand, but it just dropped, so not much to do. We're just gonna dive right in, slow and steady. We're gonna take a look. So first we have one item change, so this doesn't seem like a super big patch. A lot of hero changes, but not a lot of general game changes. So Solar Crest, the movement speed change got decreased to 15%, so that's both the movement speed buff and the slow, so both ways. So it's just slightly worse, but I don't think that will change the viability much. But I guess it helps slightly less with chasing, or even getting away. So this, of course, yeah, it's just a straight up nerf, but I don't think it really changes the viability of the item. There might be some niche interactions where now barely you can't get away when you get solar crested, or you barely can't chase somebody, you barely don't get that last shot off or whatever. So not a big impact, but it was overtuned apparently. I don't think we're going to see a lot of people not buy it because of that, because I feel like the armor reduction or increase is like the big thing, although the movement speed was a big thing and why it felt good for a carry. So a carry might feel a little bit less good when having it, but it's still just as good for doing a Roshan, or just as good for killing somebody when you already have a way to initiate on them and keep them in place. But it's in situations such as like Clinks, who just wants to stand his ground and keep shooting you as soon as he solar crests you, you get away slightly earlier, etc. So I think basically everybody keeps buying it, but you need to work a little bit harder for the setup. Neutral item changes. We have Arcane Ring intelligence bonus decreased. Slightly surprising to me. I thought Arcane Ring was in a decent spot. Like, it's just nice to have like a mini Arcane Boots on your team. But I suppose it was just seeing slightly too much play. 8 int. It's pretty good for the intelligence heroes that do like to get it. Some offlaners like getting it because of the 2 armor, and intelligence obviously gives you more mana pool, mana regen. I think this doesn't change anything for the people that buy Arcane Ring. Occult Bracelet, the stack duration decreased from 10 to 5. That's a pretty big nerf. That's just a 50% less duration time. That's pretty big, because this is one of those items which it used to give 10% magic resist, and the effect would last 10 seconds, and it was just impossible not to pick this one. Basically, everybody would pick it, even if it only gave its effect. Now, its effect is just halved in effectiveness, so you get half the mana from it, unless you keep getting hit for stuff, by stuff, and I think all of the stacks have individual cooldowns. So you can't recharge all of your stacks by just getting hit once. You have to get hit 5 times again. So just straight up worse. This might be, I mean, it's still good, right? It just still gives a little bit of stats. It still gives some magic resist, and it still gives mana regen. So it's still a great tier 1 neutral, but it's not a no-brain every time pick this item because it gives you everything, I think. Spark of Courage, this one is so good. It's a very good all-in item. For example, Dawnbreaker really loves this item, where you go in, you use the extra damage, you trade hits, you trade blows, you fall below 50 health, and then suddenly you're tanky AF. But you've already spent all your, like, initiating power, or your power spike, as it were. And then another Vambrace nerf, actually. I think Spark of Courage will still be played, because 7 armor that early in the game is just crazy good. And 16 is still pretty decent. It's only a 10% nerf in damage. Slightly less good for farming, I guess. But it's still a good neutral item. Vambrace, so other attribute bonus from 4 to 2, so it's really only the main attribute now. I guess maybe it was too good on the Universal Hero still? This item got hit a lot. It does have a lot of like toggle potential, so it's just very good if you use it to toggle, just like treads. Like if you tread swap and Vambrace swap, you can get a lot of value. It's also nice to have the agi bonus to farm and then the strength bonus to tank or the spell amp to backline. I know versatility is worth a lot. I don't know if this replaces... Like, if you just want the magic resist, you're still going to take it on strength, and it gives a bunch of health because of that. I think this doesn't impact it a lot. It's only a universal hero nerf in my eyes. Because you would usually get it to put it on one attribute, or at least most people would, and then just leave it at that attribute. Like me as an offlaner, usually just strength, because magic resist is good, and strength is usually attack damage as well on your strength heroes. So it's a meaningful buff. I think we're going to see it less on universal heroes. And it's just straight up less value, right? Just less stats. So, but they probably have the data, and it doesn't surprise me that Occult Bracelet and Vambrace are being overpicked. It doesn't surprise me at all that these are picked way more than the other neutral items. So, a good time to be experimenting with other neutral items. Some of them are still good. I think the... What's it called? The one with crack shot. I don't know what it's called. Let me check. This one, Specialist Array, that one is so sick. Actually, even on melee heroes, it's just great. 7 all stat and 12 damage. It's sick. And the passive on top, super good item. Let's move on to the heroes. We have Abaddon, who gets another Miscoil buff, but also a Curse of Avernus buff. And then also Burrow Time, Immolation, DPS. Okay, so it's just straight up buffs for Abaddon. The Miscoil is very nice for the support Abaddon. He already got some buffs, as you can see, in 7.34B and 7.34 as well. I don't know if this is going to make him viable. I think it's still a nice hero to have because of his shield. Shield can just help you win the lane. I think it also dispels, if I'm correct. It's a strong dispel even. So yeah, it is value in that sense. But just if you need to put like a big shield on somebody, he's basically kind of a free Lotus in that sense. Or not exactly, but still. He is pretty good. He can tank for you. He can run up a hill for you. So it's a decent support. We've seen him carry a little bit. Only the Curse of Avernus is really nice. The level 20 talent is actually pretty good for that. And his ult was buffed as well. The duration of it was buffed. I think? No, I'm wrong. Like, these are buffs again. I don't know if these put him over the edge, but if you want to play Abaddon, like, now is a decent time to go try that out. Arc Warden, Tempest damage increased. So the Tempest version of Arc Warden does more damage with Spark Wraith. Only slightly. First level's the same, and the more you level it, you get 50 more damage at level 4. The double not always spawns with full health and mana. That is crazy, actually. Because it used to be your double, so if you don't have mana, it doesn't spawn with mana. This is a pretty big buff. If you just got ganked, and you're low at everything, and you just have to walk back to base, but you barely have mana for your Tempest double, you can still spawn it and farm with it, or join the fight with it, or something. Because I guess that's the big thing about Arc Warden. If you jump her, or him, or it, and you put him on like half HP before the Tempest double is out, it's like the Tempest double is suddenly so easy to kill. So this is a big buff, honestly. It's just a straight up buff. I didn't know we wanted to see more Arc Warden. Axe. So he got a random Agi nerf last patch, which was kind of crazy. They just straight up nerfed his Agi gain, which felt kind of bad. So he just has less base armor during the game, slightly less attack speed. It feels kind of bad. Like, it's not like Axe is dominating. It just kind of made it more important to get those first couple Culling Blade kills. So he became, in a sense, more snowball-y because of that. Or more snowball reliant. And they are acknowledging that by giving him more damage on his Culling Blade, which is welcomed. And then Berserker's Call radius increased by 15. That's not huge, but the diameter still increases by 30. So it's pretty big, honestly. So there's quite a bit more like surface area that he covers with this Berserker's Call now. If you understand how circles work. So that's pretty sick. And then his level 10 talent, which is a pretty decent talent, now gives him plus 10 armor during call. Usually you just kind of skip your level 10 talent until you've gotten your 15 already, because they're both not super good. And usually you want the battle hunger damage because it's still significant so early in the game. But like 10 armor is pretty nice, especially when you're playing against drow type heroes or other blow you up with physical damage heroes such as PA. So these are just straight up Axe buffs after they nerfed him last patch with the Agi. So this is kind of nice. I'm happy to see that. I think Axe players will notice this a lot. Like, you don't have to go out of your way to benefit from these buffs. So that's pretty big. I think Axe is going to be a feels good man hero. Especially with the Culling Blade. You can get that early kill, you know, the first time you dive tower with your Vanguard and you just got your Culling Blade. You're just going to get that kill slightly more often. So you're going to get that armor stack slightly more often. And then it's going to snowball from there. That's pretty sick. Feels good. Base damage for Bane. And mana cost reduced. So I feel like Bane received a bunch of buffs in B. 7.34B. So just giving him more base damage, so better laning, and just a straight up buff on the Enfeeble as well. I think we're gonna see some Bane. Like, Fishman is back, baby. I think that's nice. For Bane, at least. I don't really have an opinion on the hero itself, but I think he's in a good spot. I think he's strong now. So, I don't know, support players, let me know. Beastmaster, so he got changed quite a bit. Oh, he got neutered. So first call of the Hawk, the mana cost has increased. The base health from the Hawk has been reduced because it was quite hard to kill the Hawk, really, that was circling him now. But the Drums of Shlom is the big thing. It doesn't consider illusion damage amplification anymore when calculating the healing amount. So Beastmaster used to be a very good anti-illusion offlaner, especially Naga, PL, and to a certain extent CK, which is almost all of the illusion heroes, lol. He did bonus damage to the illusions, because illusions take amplified damage, and he would heal off of them more because of that, because Drums of Shlom heal for doing damage to everything around him. So especially versus PL, he just couldn't die to Phantom Lancer. And now it doesn't do that anymore. It's probably still fine, but yeah, not as good, not as oppressive against illusion heroes. I guess that is fine, considering that Radiance, Maelstrom, both do and Shivas, I guess, do better now against illusion heroes. So your anti-illusion hero or your solution to illusion heroes in your draft is going to come less from the offlaner and more from the other carry or the mid, because they will be buying the Maelstroms and the Radiances, which offlaners usually do not have the luxury to buy. I mean, some can still do that, right? But not as often. So we have, I think it's just nerfs for Beastmaster. So I've played him a little bit when they changed him in 3.4a with the Drums of Shlom, and it was fine. It felt good to play. He's a universal hero, so that makes his laning really reliable with the Axis plus being universal hero. I don't know. He's probably still going to get played. He was picked regardless if the opponent was an illusion carry or not. But now at least you can consider picking an illusion hero into the Beastmaster, because you're probably going to see Beastmaster earlier on in the draft. Then we see Bounty. So Shurkentas got buffed. I guess that's nice. He kind of sucks in lane. Mana cost reduced on Shadow Walk. That is very nice. So your 4 or 5 Bounty Hunter is going to love that. And then damage taken to Shadow Walk. Talent has been buffed. So small buffs for Bounty Hunter. I feel like they're kind of mid-game buffs. He can Shadow Walk a little bit more often without needing a regen. And also, yeah, he might not need to take a mana regen neutral item. Stuff like that. It's just small buffs. It's honestly just feel good buffs. It doesn't really change how he plays, I think. Probably still kind of meh. I'm not psyched for having a Bounty Hunter on my team. That's all I'm saying. So Cinderbrew cooldowns increased. Yes, thank you. Beastmaster's such a beast of a hero right now, pun intended. When he puts some like brew on himself and then he goes into his fire form and he just gets attack speed and crits you 4 times and he has an AC and he just smacks the ever-living shit out of you. And then if he thinks he's in danger, he just ults. It's such a good effing hero. Like, he scales so well into the late game now. It's crazy. Like, his ult is good and his body is good. So put any amount of items on him and you're just happy. So this small nerf, I think he's just still strong, but you have to pick and choose your fights a little bit better. So I like that as a change. So if you're a brew spammer or you want to learn brew, this is still a good moment to do it. You just have to be a little bit more patient or make better decisions, basically. Bristle Bro. Base damage increased by 3. That's pretty big. And then the armor from Viscous Nesogu, the armor loss was increased, so it's better at level 3 and 4. It's kind of a cool spike at level 3. I mean, this just helps Bristleback's laning, and the Nasal Goo, usually you don't get it until more of a mid-game. And then Goo cast range increase as well, so they really want him to cast more Goo. Honestly, I haven't played the hero anymore since they changed his Aghanims. Because the new Aghanims just kind of seems dumb. You just fart on people. I don't know. The previous one felt way cooler. You were walking around, rampaging around, you know? Just like getting big, throwing stuff on everybody, being annoying, being an like kind of a juggernaut, you know? Like, I'm the juggernaut. And you just walk at people. It felt cool. And now this shit is just whatever. This Aghanims... I'm not touching this hero until it seems good or they change him again. Then we have Broodmother. Spiderling base attack time improved. Oh no, don't buff the Brood just before TI. No! Spiderling's health increased from 1... Just Brood buffs. I don't know. Please no. Broodmother is so boring. Holy shit. We don't need Broodmother, okay? Let's just keep her out of TI for this year. She can come back next year, okay? I think maybe after Dream League, we'll see some changes, like a D-patch for very egregious shit. But I think if Broodmother is viable-ish, she's gonna stay viable. I mean, it's buffs. Enjoy Broodmother players. Please stay out of my games. Base movement speed increased for Centaur. That's pretty dope. Stampede buff as well. And Workhorse buff. That is nice. Centaur has been enjoying this patch. His new Hoof Stomp feels really good. And Blade Mail is obviously pretty nice on him as well. So Centaur is feeling good right now. And this base movement speed, you're going to feel that one. It's really nice. Because you buy phase boots often, so you get the percent base movement speed. Like, it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel good. Like you might want to pick up a drum or something and just go ham. I think Centaur players are gonna be surprisingly happy with this extra movement speed. I think that's a decent dub. Clinks gets a buff on strafe with the archers. I like how he plays with the archers. I love that. Burning Barrage per arrow. Damn, Burning Barrage pretty good now. That is sick. Didn't she used to need, like, talents for this to do more damage? I feel like carry Clink's pretty good. Like, if you just go carry Clink's of old and you just get your shard ASAP, you just still go, like, Gleipnir shard, and you just... That sounds pretty good, honestly. I think it might be better than before. Because now you just spawn archers as well, and you just spam all of your stuff on people. I don't know. It might be pretty good. Carry Clinks, baby. And then the health from Death Pact is pretty good. Usually you don't take it because strafe attack speed is just very good, but it can be good in some games. Crystal Maiden buffs? What? 1 base armor and 2 int, so that's basically 2 attack. To start with. So this is just straight up Crystal Maiden buffs, bigger mana pool, that's nice, and a base armor and 2 base attack, basically. That's super good. I think Crystal Maiden's very happy with that. She's already pretty good. I think this is even better. I think you're going to feel this in lane. She's going to be way more annoying in lane. Usually, as, for example, a Dawnbreaker, you're in a Crystal Maiden lane, you're just kind of like, why is this bitch looking at me? You just throw a hammer at her, you get on her, you press Q, and suddenly she's not a problem no more. So, pretty sizable Crystal Maiden buffs, I feel like. Vacuum damage decreased. I mean, Darkseer is already such value hero right now. So he's still as good as he is later in the game, but earlier on, he ramps up a little slower. Which, I don't know, Darkseer is just so strong right now. You just buy aura items, become very hard to kill, and you buff up your team a lot. And you also get the vacuum wall combo teamfight thing. Where Darkseer can just be so annoying. If you can't deal with him, like, your game is just hell. So, perfectly playable still. But you might have to pick which one you max earlier because of how the cooldowns and damage work now. I don't think you care about the vacuum damage, though. Like, the placement of the vacuum is the big thing. And that it does damage at all, so people can't blink, right? So I think this change it doesn't matter that much. Like, it's nice. It will lower his win rate slightly. And the surge cooldown, that's a little bigger. Like, you want to have it level 4 slightly earlier now. Or as soon as possible. Or at least get it like a level 3, I guess. Because 24 feels a lot worse than 21, I feel like. I don't know. It's small nerfs, though, I think. It doesn't change his playability at all. And with Dawnbreaker, who I haven't seen a lot of success with, but I've seen people on the internet mostly be like, this hero is busted again. So they decreased her movement speed from 310 to 300. That feels bad. So now we know where the movement speed for Centaur came from, a different offlaner. That feels bad. That's a feels bad change because her movement speed is kind of decent. You know, I mean, 310 is pretty good. And then you get phase and then you get the hammer. So you felt pretty mobile. But now that is significantly impacted. And her base strength has been decreased by 2 as well. So there's less damage and also less HP. I think that's like 20 HP less at level 1. So, honestly, that's a pretty sizable nerf to Dawn. I think the movement speed is gonna hurt the most because you're just gonna cover less space over the entire, entirety of the map, and it's just easier to catch her. Which, a big thing about Dawn is that you kind of want to catch her on a lane, but she'll just throw her hammer out and walk away. And now you can more easily catch her doing that, especially at night, which she loves just chucking out the hammer when she's not in vision and then walking away. Now, it will be slightly easier to catch her, which... That's a feels bad, man, for the Dawn players. Which I include myself in those, so Sag. I don't know if this is still playable. The movement speed is just gonna suck. Like, she can still do all of her things, but it's just slightly worse. Probably still viable, but you need a little bit more help in lane because connecting to your 4 and killing the 5 or the carry is slightly harder now, or slightly more difficult. Like, she's gonna feel it in her laning a lot. So, which used to be like one of our big selling points. Like, her laning was fine, her recovery is fine, and yeah, her catch was decent, although she still needs somebody else to do catch for her because she doesn't have a reliable stun. I guess you just need slightly better setup now as well, or better positioning. So, making better decisions fixes a lot of this, but not all of it, I think. It's just nerfs. It feels bad. She was good for a patch. Half a patch. Dazzle buffs. I don't know. It's just buffs. Dazzle felt decent before. His shard is just super sick. I felt like he got buffed, so... I don't know. I don't expect to see a lot more Dazzle, but it feels good. Doom nerf. I don't care for Doom. I think he's a boring hero, so a Devour cooldown nerf seems cool. And Scorched Earth cooldown nerf. Damn. I mean, he makes Octarine almost every game, so... This is pretty sizable, honestly. They already increased the cooldown in 7.33E, apparently, so... That's pretty big. Doom is just so reliable in getting items and gold because of Devour, so... It's a pretty big nerf. I personally don't like the hero, so... Good riddance. Base intelligence decreased from 20 to 18 for Earth Spirit. That's curious. So that's... He loses what? 1.4 damage? And some... a bit of mana pool and a little bit of mana regen. So... That's a very specific nerf. And the Rolling Boulder Distance talent has been nerfed. And the Rolling Boulder Damage talent has been nerfed. I like that they keep the invulnerability. It is super annoying, honestly, when he keeps rolling everywhere. But it makes him way stronger, and I kind of like that. Because Storm has that, Ember has that, and Void has it as well. They can move around whilst being invincible in a spell. But Earth Spirit couldn't for some reason, and it just felt weird. It's still a little weird to see him rolling through Chrono, but I welcome it. I think it fits. Like, it just makes him stronger, aligns him more with all the other spirits. Then we have Earthshaker. Mana cost increased, actually. So they buffed him a bit with the attack range and stuff before. But now they're giving him some nerfs because he has been seeing quite some play. And the enchant totem damage, 50%, is moved to 20. Okay, so that's still playable, but apparently just everybody and their mom were picking this talent, and he was doing a shit ton of damage at level 15. Curious to see if we're still going to see a mid, because that was probably a pretty big power spike. Ember getting more nerf hammers. Base health regen, gutted. More than 50% decrease. Like a 40% decrease. And Sleight of Fist more mana cost. Like, Jesus. I felt like Ember Spirit was already nerfed quite a bit. And they just keep on going. I mean, I guess he was just a really good hero. We've been seeing him picked like in the second phase a lot, even if you don't know your mid matchup. You just need a couple cover bans, like Huskar, and then you're good. You're like, oh, this is a decent Ember game. We already see like 2 to 3 heroes. He'll be fine. It's hard to counter Ember Spirit with only 2 to 3 heroes, apparently. So he was just super solid, being picked up a lot, even after all the nerfs. So just got more nerfs, huh? I don't know. Nothing wrong with strong spirits, I think. Spirits are kind of cool. Like, just think back to TI8. Like, Ember Spirit was like carry. That shit was pretty cool. And we have Gyro, one of the big, strong heroes of this patch, gets nerfed. We see Agi gain decrease, and we also see the homing missile stun duration decrease. So, Gyro 4 also gets a nerf, and then Flak Cannon gets a big nerf. The cooldown has been increased on all levels, and even the final level, it's still longer. And then his talents, it's a nerf. Ooh. Oh, they changed these around? So the 3 Flak Cannon attacks, that did feel really strong. Especially because the side gunner now shoots 2 targets during Flak Cannon. So he now has less attacks until level 20. So his super strong timing is slightly later. So that's nice. And then the cooldown reduction on level 25 is also reduced. So these are pretty decent. Oh, Jesus Christ. Are pretty decent nerfs. But I don't know if people will stop playing him, because you still get the night vision, you still have the range. I think he's still strong, but he's just not as overtuned. So probably still going to see a lot of Gyrocopter. A lot of heroes in this patch. Holy moly. Hoodwink. Bushwhack. Stun duration. It's been increased at the early levels. And the mana cost has been reduced for ult. So Hoodwink just straight up feels good man buffs. We haven't been seeing her a lot as 4. We did see her a lot as a 4 last year. Everybody remembers the FE voice line. Then Invoker gets a base health regen nerf, so you have to use your Quas a little bit more effectively to counteract that. Move speed per instance decreased on the Wex. Damn. Tornado base damage reduced. And the Shard gets... Oh, okay. So the Shard gets some nerfs. Invoker's still good, I think. Like, I think the big thing was the cooldown not working on items anymore. I don't know, I feel like Invoker is starting to feel a lot more as he was in 7.33 in power level wise. So I don't know, a lot of Invoker players just had to relearn how to play the hero, but he's kind of the same power level. It's hard to say, I don't play Invoker. Then we have Jakiro, who gets a buff on the dual breath. That's kind of chill. And the liquid fire get buffed. Oh, baby. The Jakiro. That feels good. That feels really good. The dual breath and laning feels good. And the liquid fire, you often already get 1 to 2 points in liquid fire early, because dual breath was just too expensive in mana, so you couldn't sustain it. And liquid fire just helps so much with killing those early towers. I love playing Jakiro 5. my win rate on him is insane, even though I don't play support at all. I just one trick this fucking dragon, and I just get Liquid Fire level 4 before any other spell, basically, and I just go kill towers. And it's great. Like, you get so much of the map for your team. It's great. And then you have Legion Command. So these are big buffs, by the way. Like, Jakiro stonks. I think this is crazy good. Especially the Liquid Fire. I think it's really good. Then we have the Legion Commander. Small changes. She was apparently slightly too good. Kind of... I feel like they're nerfing heroes that counter illusion heroes to make up for the fact that Maelstrom and Radiance are so good right now. This is another offlaner that used to be very good against against illusion heroes. And now you see Overwhelming Odds, slight nerf, and then proc chance, slight nerf, which, you know, all those things made Legion Commander very good against PL type heroes. So that makes me very, well, I dread another Naga TI. Like, if you remember the last game for TI11, where, I think it was the last game, where Chrysalis played Naga to make sure that Skeeter couldn't play Naga, and they got absolutely shit-stomped. Like, that game was just, holy moly. Like, it just encapsulated the TI for me, where Naga was just so strong and so boring. Like, I don't enjoy watching Naga games. It's kind of... I've always been of the opinion that illusion heroes are effing strong in this game, and that, you know, they should learn from StarCraft 2, where free map presence and free trading and free farming and whatever, free kills with illusions is just broken as hell. You need to bind it to something that costs something. And the big thing that I already thought this in 2012, basically, when PL could send out a Manta illusion, kill a wave, have like 10 PL illusions, and just walk to the next wave and kill that one. So you could just ghost push by only sending one Manta illusion once. Like, that was sick. Crazy stupid. Like, my PL win rate was insane, because I just, you know, I played StarCraft. I didn't have no trouble sending 2 Manta illusions through the lanes every, what is it, 30 seconds? 25 seconds? I don't fucking know. Like, and it's still broken. I'm sorry, it's just still broken. Illusions are just too good. You can do damage and scout and everything without having to put your own hero at risk, and it's such a low cooldown. For most heroes, their spells that produce illusions are low cooldown. Manta has a pretty low cooldown. Like, just getting illusions in your opponent's face is just too easy. Except for, like, CK. I feel like CK's ult is, like, kind of at a decent cooldown, and it's an ultimate. So he feels too fair, almost, as an illusion hero, right? He just feels too fair. But that's on illusion heroes, right? Just make the counter strong, and then maybe it's cool. But I think it's just not great, design-wise. Lion gets a nerf on the hex, so it's harder to hex people from range. You need to level it up. Used to be pretty good, only one level, right? Like hexing people and then stunning them, because hex doesn't do damage, so you prefer just hexing once and then spiking them with a level 4 earth spike. I don't know this, I don't play Lion, but I'm guessing that's how it works. And now you just have less catch on your Lion. So you still want to go that blink real early on Lion to increase your range, effective range, basically, by blinking and then hexing and then stunning. So Lion's pretty good. He's just slightly less good early on now. Lone Druid base armor increased by 2. That's a lot. And then attack speed from Spirit Link increased. Damn. Lone Druid buffs. That's pretty good for his laning and just the game. It's just early buffs for Lone Druid to get him out of lane. I felt like he's already pretty good at laning, especially in the mid. Oh. Magnus base attack range increased from 150 to 200. And pull radius on RP, that's pretty sick. Collapse? I think Spirit is going for the two-peat, baby. Magnus is in a pretty decent spot right now. Ooh, Magnus players rejoice. Like, I don't know if you've played PL, but PL's attack range now feels insane. It's the same, like, Monkey King has always had it, but now Magnus has it with his lance. I think you're gonna notice that shit. It's gonna be real good versus all those puny melee heroes that don't have this extra attack range. This is sick. Meepo turn rate improved. This is one of the things that, as a StarCraft player, fucking hate Dota turn rate. Holy shit, it makes me go crazy. So anytime a hero gets his turn rate improved, I'm kind of like, yes, keep doing this. It's kind of shit because it nerfs body blocking, etc. But I hate heroes that have high turn rates, which is why I love playing Pango. He doesn't really have a turn rate because, I mean, try it out. He doesn't have a turn rate. He just whoop 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 whoop. He just turns around right away. It doesn't take any time. Mega Meepo is no longer cancelled on banished, hidden, or becomes untargetable. Okay, so this used to be a thing that you could just banish Meepo with Disruptor Q or OD's W. Basically anything that made him disappear as is written. Then Mega Meepo would end. But now it's more reliable. Cool. Muerta buff, I think that's cool. I think you want to see Muerta TI because it's the new hero and we haven't, you know. You don't want the new hero to be shit at the new TI, I feel like. Here's the Veil buff, and then also Deadshot cast range increase. So straight up buffs. It's not huge, but it's buffs. I hope to see some Muerta. Naga Siren. Base health regen decreased. And the mana cost has been increased. Okay, so she does get nerfed. I do like that. But still, fuck this hero. I think she's probably still strong, and I hate that. Oh lord. Base agi decreased by 6. That's a big nerf. So his attack speed is just in the gutter. Sprout is still the same. And trees are now normal trees when consumed with a tango. So that's slightly better. Like, it felt really bad, like, early on in lane, using your first, like, 2 tangos to get out of a Sprout and not getting any healing for it. Like, it was very good trading level 1 because of how the Sprout works. You needed a Quelling Blade. So now using a tango to get out is less of a problem because you're healing the damage that you just took. So, won't feel as bad. So that's honestly a pretty big nerf to Nature Prophet because now also teleporting in gives him some bonus damage, I think, on his teleport. So now he has less attack speed to use that bonus damage. So I think Nature's Prophet, this is a pretty decent buff. I think he's still decent, but it might be enough to kill him as a 5 again. I don't know, I might be overreacting, but I think this is pretty big. Base armor increase for Necro. Damn, Necro! Death Pulse heal increase. Oh, Necro stonks. Like, he's already good. So all these small things just make him better. They just straight up make him better. That's crazy. Nyx Assassin. Whew, that's good. That's good. Whoa! Mamma mia! Okay, I think Nyx is sick. Intelligence multiplier? That is already insane. Like, having this be better from level 1 already? That's so sick. You get at level 2 now what you got at level 2.5 before. So now at level 2, you get what you used to get at level 3. So this ability just feels amazing now at level 1 and 2 compared to how it used to feel. That's crazy. Especially the first level. Holy shit, it's so much better. And then Spike Carapace is nice. I mean, it's just a super good ability, so super nice. And then Vendetta, like, it's just straight up better. Like, this hero's sick. This hero's so sick. And Darkseer is also strong, which is an iconic link together. Nyx Assassin Dawn is still pretty good. Nyx Assassin against Dawn is good. Like, I think Nyx Assassin, mwah, that's a good hero right now. Ogre Magi, whoa, double his health regen. That's really strong. Bloodlust is now cheaper early. And Fire Shield cooldown decreased. So he's just straight up better. I feel like this is mostly good for support. He can now kind of tank more. He already kind of fell off as an offlaner. Maybe this makes up for the fact that Vanguard kind of sucks now, or it's still okay, but like it's just not as good as it used to be. I don't know. I would say this is minor. It doesn't change how the hero's played. Repel is back. That's cute. Cooldown decreased even further. Nice. Yeah, it's just too high of a cooldown. Like, look at all of those cooldown changes. Mana cost rescaled. It's better now early and slightly more expensive later. I think that's good, especially for laning. Roll-up cooldown increased from 30 to 40. Oh my god. Roll-up is really sick, though. Like, it's so sick. It gets you out of Dream Coil, for example. Like, roll-up is just so good for Pango. It's your oh shit button. It feels really good to get it. And they already nerfed it before, and now they're nerfing it even more. It's just good. Oh my god. They nerfed the slash range from plus 350 to 250. So he just has less effective range now as well. That is crazy. So he has to get into danger a little bit more to hit more heroes. I think that's the biggest nerf in a while. Like, they already went kind of ham with all the nerfs on Pango, but this one is pretty big. And I have a lot of Pango games. I think this one is big. This is a big one. This Pango is definitely, I think, shouldn't be a first pick anymore. Because especially this effective range decrease is just... You just get caught by him less often. He can connect less often. He's in danger more often. I feel like if you're still first picking him, you have an amazing Pango player mid. Otherwise, it's just kind of rough. Phoenix, attack speed's slow. Damn. This is all Kaori. It was like, I'm gonna show the world how broken Phoenix is. I mean, it's a small nerf, but it's less good level 1, and after that, it's kind of fine. Primal Beast. The Dinosaur. Onslaught got a small nerf, and you don't get Uproar stacks from Roshan, so tanking Roshan for your team isn't as good anymore. It's a nerf, but I think he's still good. It's cute to see that they change small things like this to make sure that he isn't like a catch-all, that if you want to do Roshan and you want to draft for that Primal now doesn't make that happen for you anymore, or not as well. Pugna. I mean, that's a small buff, decent buff, and that's a buff. That's just Pugna buffs. I mean, Thompson just joined Thundra. Oh my god, I'm so excited for TI12. Because, like, just for the idea that Thundra could two-peat with the only mid, or player, yeah, only mid, that has ever two-peated TI. And then he would be the only player three-peating? And Thunder would two-peat? I mean, it's just insane. And it's so cool to see 9 swap to 4 because they still have Saksa, right? He can still talk with them, even though it might not be as intensive. He can still share some things about heroes, and they talk together probably a lot. And they also have Aoi, who I think has a lot of knowledge about being a 4 as well, even though when they played, I think he swapped to 5 and Snay went to 4. But you also have Snake King. Like, you just have so much support, big brain power in that team, and then you have like a quirky player like 9 who's probably up to try any anything. He's just up to try some dumbass shit. You know, he's just gonna play some stupid mid heroes at the 4 position. He's gonna show everybody that it's possible. So I'm really, really interested to see that happen. I don't think we're gonna see 9 placer in hero mid and Thompson swap to 4, although that would also be sick. But I do think we're gonna see some cheeky picks that look like a mid and then they're a 4 because of 9, maybe, or just some offbeat 4 heroes that 9 enjoys. It's sad for Tundra that they kind of seem like a boring team because of the whole Wraith Pack meta. But I'm really gonna look at them, especially in this Dream League coming up. I want to see them perform. I don't want to see them win it yet. I hope they are kind of the underdog. I hope they show some interesting plays. They show some promise, and then they kind of falter out at the round of 8 or something. I'm sorry. And then everybody's like, Thompson washed up, 9 can't play 4, blah, 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 blah. And then, they go into the last boot camp, they shore up the small things that were going wrong, and then they burst onto the scene at TI, and then they fucking crush their groups, and they just cruise on to the round of 4 or something, and we're going to get epic games. I hope that happens. So, poking out here. It's just straight up buffs. Ricky gets a buff and a nerf. That's probably pretty bad. This is the whole thing for Ricky carry, right? So, outside of Tricks of the Trade, you just straight up do less damage now, so that feels bad. I feel like Ricky carry is just less reliable now. Rubik Fatebolt damage reduction is worse at the early levels. Wow. It used to be pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So, it's still good later on in the game, but it's not as oppressive in the laning stage because it's percentage based, so it's barely gonna reduce any nominal damage in the early laning stage. So that's definitely a nerf to Rubik's laning, who back in the day used to be considered a pretty bad laner, then became an outstanding laner, and now I think this puts him back into a kind of decent-ish, but not amazing laner. Sand King is getting a couple pity buffs because they neutered the poor guy previously. This range increase is nice to catch a little bit more. The armor is nice. And the Sand King movement speed is back, kind of. I don't know. I'm not convinced just yet. Then we go into Shadow Shaman. Looking at his counterpart, Lion, who also has the Hex spell. He kind of felt like he had a low cast range, which is true. Lion has more cast range on the same spell. So he got a little buff, and he got a little buff on his Serpent Wards. We just haven't been seeing a lot of Shadow Shaman. So this might help him a little bit. He can now do the same thing as Lion a little bit more effectively with the Blink, and he's a little bit better at taking objectives. So he might be somewhat of a replacement for Lion, although his ground spike, especially the AoE, just feels better in team fights than Shadow Shaman does. But he's better at more objective-oriented gameplay. So he has a niche. Attack speed decreased for Skywrath. I mean, he's still effing good, but this is probably mostly for the laning stage. After that, he doesn't really auto-attack. Sniper, very slight buffs, but they're buffs. Thompson is watching. And the Assassinate damage increase. I love this spell. Especially when he kills something, it immediately refreshes, and now it's quite a bit of damage. I love that. I think Assassinate is a cool spell, and usually you just didn't see it as much unless somebody was really, really out of range, and you just kind of do it. But now it's kind of like a nice finisher. I like it. Extra movement speed on Charge of Darkness. Durr. Another strike bonus. Damn, just more buffs on the Spirit Breaker, baby. What the hell? I kind of felt like he was already super duper oppressive. I think Spirit Breaker is just straight up busted, baby. Spirit Breaker is first pick material. He's fucking good. This insane hero. People are gonna play him 5, 4, and 3. It's you heard it. Not here first, but you heard it. So a small Sven nerf. Nerf on the slow resist. So you can kite him a little better now. And the cooldown has been increased. Ugh. Okay, so Sven has very strong timings, but now every time his God Strength is off cooldown, you can't fight. And it's just more downtime of God Strength in the game. He's just condemned to farming more than before. I hate it, honestly. I kind of hate it. I guess the uptime was just too good, but I don't know. I would have liked to see the uptime on it at least buffed a little bit. So that you could try to force a re-engagement a little bit better. Because now if you got strength, you go in and they disengage, you kind of feel like you can't chase them as well. I don't know how long it is, the duration right now. Oh, it's 35 seconds actually. Okay, that's pretty long. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. These are Sven nerfs. It feels kind of bad. The Stormhammer's only nerfed early, so I don't think that one matters as much. It's just less of a value point, I suppose. And then the cooldown, I mean, it's 5 seconds. It's not amazing. Like, the slow resistance is the biggest thing in my eyes. Like, as Venno, I play quite a bit of Venno, as you'll see soon when we'll look at my little... What's the thing called? The battle report. It feels bad when people have slow resistance. And apparently, 40 was too much. Sven's probably still good. He still does the things that he's supposed to do. And that's beat the crap out of the opponent. But now you have to coordinate slightly better. It's just less easy of a hero. Base damage decreased by 2 for Terrorblade. It's kind of weird. That's his whole identity, right? So removing some of his... Oh, no, I read armor. It's base damage. Okay. So that ruins his laning stage a little bit. And he gets less health, which is super value on him because of said armor. Like, if you just have a lot of armor, then your effective HP is just through the roof, and you have a health talent. That's effing insane. Treant. Mana cost increased to 90 for Nature's Grasp. I mean, this hero was pretty good. Cooldown increased and overgrowth increased. Like, I'm sorry, this hero is just very strong early. He got nerfed a little bit. I think before, people actually picked up on the fact that he was super strong. Probably still strong, because if you look, every level 4 is still the same, but early game Treant is now less oppressive. So, now all the Treants in your games can just say that they are sitting in the lane with Meteor Hammer, not because they are greedy fucks, but it's because their early levels suck anyways. Or because all their shit's on cooldown. They don't want to be active because they barely can't. Tombstone vision decrease. That is big! Holy moly. Like, 1200 vision is still good. But Undying has been first pick material for a long ass while now. And the shard is amazing. It's still pretty decent. I think it's, yeah. That's a nerf. I think you're still picking Undying because he still fucks up almost every off-laning combination. And Tombstone on a high ground is still great. So, like, it doesn't change his pickability, but it does make it slightly easier to play into Tombstone, which I think is a good thing. It's still super strong. Like, it's just slightly easier to play into. Or, not slightly, I think a lot easier. Then we have Venge. I put Venge in my... Hello? In my new patch Who This list before this patch came out, because I really wanted to try her. She seems really strong, and since she is an universal hero, I was really looking forward to getting her Aghanims early and hitting people a lot, getting like Octarine as well, and just stunning people and hitting them a lot, getting a Manta, just Manta Ags, Octarine with a shard, and then just going crazy as Venge. And then I guess you get Scotty or some shit. But I haven't been able to try that yet, and now we see that the shard gets nerfed a little bit. So the secondary hit, you used to have a lot of increased cast range with the missile. If you hit one unit, then you could hit a second unit pretty far away. So that's slightly less good. It's a nerf, but I don't feel like that changes her playability as much. Because when you're aiming it at a clump of two people. You're not hoping that to catch that one person running away. Although when you could do that, that felt epic. So guess you feel slightly less oppressive. You're gonna get stunned less randomly often now. And the mana cost increase for Wave of Terror, that's pretty big actually, because it used to feel really good to only get this like 1 or 2 levels early, and it wouldn't cost as much mana. Now it costs still not that much, honestly, but it's a sizable increase, right? So you actually have to get maybe a mana item, maybe consider a Solar Crest or whatever. And then the base damage bonus decreased from... It's only the later levels, and it's a slight nerf. I mean, this is just really good on her because her base damage is super high because she is a universal hero. So this is one of those heroes that's super good with universal heroes. And I think that maybe within Helm of the Overlord, she could be insane. Like, I might be smoking some, or blowing some smoke up your ass, but having the Floods aura and the Vengeance aura on a universal hero carry, I think you're just gonna give them straight up, well, this is 25, and I think Vlad's aura is 18. I'm guessing it doesn't stack additively, but it's still probably like 35% attack damage bonus. That's like 1/3. That's insane. If they have 300 damage, they now have 400 damage just for you existing, which you will because you have an Aghanim Scepter that gives you a second life. And Wave of Terrors, it only gives damage reduction, I guess. I thought it gave you damage, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's an old patch. Honestly, maybe it's super good with her. Maybe you just get Flood's aura for the right heroes that just have a lot of base damage. Like, Venge 3 might be really sick. Venge 4, I think, is the sickest. Where you can kind of farm that Ags and then go into the Flood aura and just go ham. After that, I don't know what you get. Maybe Greaves or some shit. Yeah, Greaves probably sick as well. Holy moly, she's also good offlane then. Oh, imagine her with Greaves. Yeah, we're definitely trying her today. And then we have Warlock, his strength gain. Whoa, his strength gain was 3. This boy is a tanky boy. Whoa. Fatal Bond's Duration. Oh my god, this spell was so crazy, level 1. Thank you, Gaben. I hated laning against him. Like, it didn't feel too unfair, but it did feel very strong. Upheaval attack speed per second for allies. Oh, that's funny. And I've never noticed that, but that's funny. Attack damage on Swarm for... So this is... I guess it's a nerf, but it's still... Like, Warlock's still good. Attack damage on the Swarm... I mean, this is so weird. Weaver... This is kind of a Weaver still exists buff. Remember that he still exists. I don't think anybody cares. Like, what is the Swarm going to attack where this minor amount of attack damage matters? I can't think of anything. Maybe like Spiderlings from Broodmother or something. Maybe it goes over certain damage values or whatever. Like, I don't know. This doesn't seem that good. I mean, the Swarm does stick on people quite a bit because they're so annoying to get rid of. So, I guess it adds up. But... And you do lower armor as well per stack, so it kind of... I think it's kind of meh, but 6 damage on level 4. We take those, I guess. Base agility increased and base intelligence increased. Woof! She's a universal hero. That feels good. So that's 4 stats. So That's 3 Allstat at least, so that's like, what, 2.8 base attack damage? That's a big buff on Wind Ranger. And Gale Force got buffed as well. I think I think that's pretty big. I think Wind Ranger's gonna like that a lot in lane. You're just gonna hit that much harder. Winter Wyvern buff, base mana regen buff. Oh, buff, Universal Hero. And the cooldown on Arctic Burn has been... Ooh, Winter Wyvern, you sexy. Grrr. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I think mid Winter Wyvern is happy. Offlane Winter Wyvern is okay. I don't really know how to play that, but that seems tempting. Winter Wyvern 4 might actually be okay as well. Witch Doctor, Paralyzing Cask, even better now, and the damage on Death Ward got decreased quite a bit. I mean, we all saw the Dendy Witch Doctor mid, right? That shit did look kind of strong. I think Witch Doctor is still a very annoying support now. This helps with catching evasive heroes. Like, obviously, Death Ward is now just way worse. It's still decent, but it's more than a 10% decrease of damage at level 3. But you still just want to focus this guy down because of how annoying he is. And then Lightning Bolt for Zeus, mini stun increase. That's pretty nice. But the fact that it mini stuns is the big thing. Not how long, I feel like. But it's nice. People can follow you up now slightly easier. Cooldown on Thundergod's Wrath has been increased, and the mana cost has been decreased early levels. Oh. So you just have more Thundergod's Wrath early with Zeus. So that's kind of nice. So when you call your Zeus like, yo, ulti, do ulti, now, do it. They'll have it more often because they'll more often have the mana and it will be up more often. So that's a feel good. That's a pretty sizable buff for Zeus, I feel like. Lets him be slightly more active early on, like the mini stun early on is pretty nice as well. I think they're small buffs, but Zeus is definitely gonna notice. Okay, so that is the 7.34C gameplay update. Like, I was already expecting no huge changes, and we didn't see a lot of them. It's just, like, this item got slightly tweaked. We discussed them in detail, right? Like, they are definitely enough changes on the items to make you consider other items. On the heroes, I think Axe won out pretty well. Beastmaster's not as good against illusion heroes anymore. I think illusion heroes are slightly better in the patch now. Broodmother somehow got buffed. Holy shit. Centaur is happy. Clinks might be a carry again. Crystal Maiden is happy. Darkseer, Nyx lanes are insane. Dawnbreaker is crying in a corner. Fuck Doom. Earth Spirit's strong. Earthshaker, I think we'll still see it. It's still good. Ember Spirit players are like, please stop. Gyro's still playable. Jakiro, pretty big winner. Magnus is... I think this one is pretty sick. That's pretty big. Muerta, I hope we see her. I hope we don't see Naga. Nature Prophet, low-key kind of dead. Necro, already good. Nyx Assassin, insane. You're going to see a lot of Nyx Assassin 4s in your pubs. Ricky, I don't think he's a reliable carry right now. Oh yeah, Spearbreaker, busted. Avenge, still worth playing. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, those are my first impressions on the patch, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think will be the TI12 meta. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.